Welcome in. Cheers. No punts allowed. Week 8 of the college football season.
You're midway through.
It's a little scary, right?
Absolutely terrifying. Honestly, I think the word is absolutely terrifying because
So good.
I as I was looking through, the next couple of weeks and also what we've seen already.
Oh my God.
You can't use we don't know about this team yet. But also you can because some people don't play really hard teams for a while. Ohio State. But
Wow.
I
was going to say the same thing about Ole Miss. They've played some teams, but I'm kind of like, are they good? Are they? Yeah.
And another thing that is super trendy right now that's actually not on the dock, so I'm going rogue.
Perfect.
Is Coach Saban, of course, our favorite retired football coach, is basically making the case for, he's like the SEC spokesperson. Yep. It's that time of year where we're almost to college football playoff rankings, which, by the way, Kramer and I are very excited because that means we get Sundays off. That's huge. But he's basically been talking about how, the SEC is super deep. And fair. I can get on board with that. After doing a bit of research, yeah, that's accurate. You're the deepest conference and you have a lot of good teams. Do I think you have one dominant team? No. Do I think the Big Ten has probably 2, maybe even 3 of them? Yeah.
Maybe.
It is depth. They don't play anybody, and that's fine. But it is
depth versus class.
It's interesting to think about because the national champion has come from the Big Ten in the last 2 years. So and when the SEC was winning national championships, it was when they had one dominant team in their conference, whether it be Alabama or Georgia.
I think
they were the dominant team that year. It was very obvious to all of us.
That's
why I feel I think maybe it's more I'm just frustrated with the Indiana thing, and you and I can talk about this because you wrote on it this weekend. But I think seeing how people are still hesitant to be wow, Indiana can win a national championship.
Times are changing. Times are changing.
Please stop looking at the logo on the helmet. Please pay attention to who is coaching, who's on the coaching staff, what they've done, how they develop these players. What they're better at this year than they were last year. Use your eyeballs.
It's very interesting to tie a bow on the SEC versus Big Ten. This week, to me in particular, speaks volumes because you've got a team like Auburn who finds new ways to lose every single week and is near the bottom of that conference, is with a 1.5-point underdog to Missouri, who played a pretty game effort against Alabama. I thought they played well. Could have won that game. You got a team like Arkansas, who's fired their head coach, who's only a touchdown underdog to the number 14 ranked in college football. So all of this stuff is kind of circular, by the way, the conference discussion, right? And then you get to bowl season, by the way, and we do this, and then everyone,
I know you said we're going to tie a bow on it, but I'm sorry, we're going to get into more of it.
We're going to tie more bows on it?
Yeah, I have more bows to tie. I love bows. I do love a bow moment. If you know me and my aesthetic, I do love a good bow.
Does not shock me.
Yeah, right? Checks out. Signetti talked to Joel Klatt yesterday.
Yeah.
But it came out today. And basically called out the fact that a lot of what is being talked about in the national storyline and the hype of it all is kind of based on who's affiliated with who in terms of, TV contracts. So Fox, obviously a guy like Joel Klatt gonna boost the Big Ten. SEC, ESPN, on game day having Nick Saban sit there and prop up and basically have a propaganda rant about how deep the conference is. Yeah, it is affiliated. It is affiliated with ESPN, so that makes sense. I do think that we fall into that a little bit naturally when we have biases towards conferences and how they used to be, especially because we've seen the potential change of how college football is adjusting, but it hasn't been drastic and really, really fast. And so I think we're slowly inching toward being better about it, but we're not there just yet because as soon as we almost get there, you get a team like Alabama who could potentially win a national championship this year and be back to dominating college football. You know what I mean? Where it's we have an Indiana and we're if they win the national championship, like, holy crap, that changes the narrative. And, stop looking at the logo, and you can build the national champion anywhere if you have the money and you have the backing from your president and athletic department, all those things. But then, like, it could all come crashing down if Alabama wins the national championship this year. Or someone from the SEC. Honestly, anyone from the SEC would shock me. I'm not lying to you. Alabama's probably their best bet.
I think we'll learn more after.
I don't think Texas A&M. If you're going to say Texas A&M, I hope you.
No, I'm not. I agree. It's kind of like they specialize in like B+ college football teams.
Yes.
But I don't know how many A's there are, so it might be good enough.
I think. Well, but is it fair to say that Indiana is like an A- right now?
Yes, but if
Ohio State isn't that
Indiana and Alabama played, I wouldn't feel great about picking Indiana.
I would.
I wouldn't.
I would, based on the areas that I feel like Alabama has struggled with.
By the way, I'm not giving Miami an A either. Like
the best part is that we're leaving them completely out of this. The ACC and the Big 12 is completely gone. We're not even paying attention.
We will write this story
in the ACC, and we're going to be,
No, we will write this story at some point this year. Maybe this week. Like, is anybody any good? Because I think more so than previous years, and Ohio State might be really good.
Can I ask this? Do you feel like maybe the wording of that is incorrect? Do you feel like it's not that anybody is good? It's just that the gap between teams has shrunk in terms of like how good the best versus the like 1A versus 1B is so much smaller of a gap than it used to be?
My confidence in, like, I don't know, Alabama, Georgia, let's harken back a couple years, were elite teams. And they felt elite throughout.
Yes.
Ohio State might be that team. Like, they might. They've done nothing to say otherwise. But they haven't necessarily convinced us that they're that team.
Yes.
Texas A&M, and I like Texas A&M, you know this, being number 4, I think says a lot about the current state of where we are. What does Ole Miss rank? 5?
Are you punishing Indiana for playing a close game with Iowa?
I actually love Indiana.
They hadn't looked elite because they played Iowa. Well, I was trying to find the right team. I went through Illinois and Indiana before I got to Iowa. Sorry.
No, I've actually written over the last 5 days like probably 4,000 words on Indiana being awesome. and they are great. Like, I'm actually. They've played so well. They're like kind of omitted from this conversation that like they're really good. I saw a mock draft today that had Fernando Mendoza going number 1, and I'm like, oh my god, like cool, like whatever. He's looked great, but like we're there, huh? Like that's what we've done.
We're there. Maybe also bring some of the Indiana coaching staff. By the way, I'm curious who stays after this year. Who is going to get poached and who's going to? This is the product of success. Pay their coaching staff. That's the.
This is all a perfect natural segue to continued Indiana discussion, but first,
yes,
James Franklin discussion. Now,
sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was getting excited.
You and I, we've written about this a lot, but I actually haven't gotten your take. Was it
on James Franklin?
Yeah, was it time? Like, was it the right time?
So knowing what I know now about his contract, like at the time when we found out, by the way, this happened while we were filming our live show.
Oh my God.
The news broke that he was fired. And while that is awesome to be able to sit and have that conversation, it is a bit hard when you don't have the details of like how it came out, what was going on. So I was trying to get details in real time and like letting you talk, and I'm sitting over here like typing on my computer. But my take on this is that knowing what we know now about his contract, so he has to seek employment, and whether it be in broadcasting or coaching, and Penn State will pay the difference. I understand why they did it now. If they did have to pay him that full thing and it was guaranteed and there wasn't that sort of loophole in it, I kind of would understand if they would have waited it out through the season. But I understand the behind the scenes of it where it's like, hey, you want to start that search now. Like they're making phone calls, they're reaching out, they're seeing who's interested. They're giving themselves a lot of time to be ready for introduction of that coach, whether they are in the playoff or not. And I'm going to guess that they're looking for either a coach or a coordinator that's in that realm, or, I mean, I think the caliber of coach they're looking for is there. So that's why they did it early, is because you're not going to want to contact a head coach while he's in the middle of a playoff.
They're okay. We'll talk about the coaches. This was time. It was the right time for Franklin.
This was the right time.
It was good for him. Yes, it was the right thing for him. It was the right thing for the school. I am still in shock at how fucking bad this went. And I feel for Drew Aller, who came back.
God.
Like, look, we've been critical of the play, but to see this whole thing topple over in the way that it did over 10 to 14 days, it's like I'm not sure I've seen anything like it in terms of just a sheer, like, from national champion contender to collapse to new coach to new quarterback to everything.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Urban Meyer talk about this last night. He brings up a good point. Like, you just paid Jim Knowles $3 million to come be your DC. Like, you don't know if a new coach is going to want to keep. Like, you're not just eating $49 million. Again, you're right.
Yeah.
You have to, whatever. There'll be some offset. We saw that with Lane Kiffin. We've seen that with other coaches, by the way, where, like, et cetera, et cetera. Like, things happen. But you're probably talking about a $70 to $100 million change when it's all said and done. Because your new coach probably isn't going to cost you less than James Franklin did if you want to go get him.
Your best bet is that someone is going to overpay James Franklin because they really want him to come to their school, which, we obviously know will be, there's a likelihood that he gets paid a decent amount. He's not going to get paid what he was getting paid at Penn State, obviously. But I think, to your point, it was my take in a nutshell. It was the right time. It is really unfortunate that Penn State let it get to this point, because I do actually really feel bad for Drew Aller and all of the kids on that team that came back. Yes, they're getting paid, but I think, like, the writing was on the wall with James Franklin. I think they almost waited a year too long. Like, you couldn't have justified it last year, but in terms of, like, long-term vision, you could have. Like,
well, all right, this is fascinating, because I have struggled with this myself. When you look at Franklin's record over the last 3 years, it's bordering on dominant, right? They've won a ton of games. They've lost a handful of years. So it's really like, what is Penn State? Penn State is not Ohio State. Right? Like, this is the Ryan Day thing. Like, so what is...
Can I compare this? Because I know his coaching time at Penn State has certainly been compared to, like, Ryan Day and the narrative around, like, him winning a national championship and could he be the guy to do it? I think we need to look more at, like, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Like, because if you look at his record at Notre Dame, he was incredibly dominant. Like, he was a good football coach. Like, they won a lot of games. They were nationally relevant. All the same type of things that we were talking about with James Franklin. And I think sometimes it just doesn't fit at certain places, and that's okay. And I think for James Franklin, like, sure. And I mean, you saw it with, like, the players and their reaction to this. Like, a lot of them were still, like, they also recognized that it wasn't national championship caliber, but they're like, hey, this sucks because he was a good coach. He was a good recruiter. All these things. But sometimes the business aspect of it has to be like, all right, maybe this should have happened sooner so Penn State didn't put themselves in this position.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly at LSU, 10-4, 10-3, 9-4. They're 5-1 right now, but they're an underdog to Vanderbilt.
Uh-huh.
James Franklin, 11-2, 10-3, 13-3, 5. Like, what are our coaches, like, what is the mandate, right? Brian Kelly has, by all accounts, underperformed, underdelivered. And every time they, yes, I would say
but that's
LSU,
because the last 3 guys that have coached there have won national championships.
And I shouldn't say the conversation doesn't center around Kelly, because it will. And if they lose to Vandy, by the way, holy shit, it will. But I felt it is a weird thing. Like, when the tractor beam gets on you, you cannot unshake it.
Yes. Well, and to be fair, I was just mentioning, like, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame because he was there he was there for a long time, like James Franklin was, in terms of, like, success and what he has to show for that like long tenure, it looks very similar to.
But I think it's an interesting point because outside of, I don't know who you could compare other than like Nick Saban's gone. Like Kirby Smart loses games now. They all lose games. Like you got to win a natty, and then they'll leave you alone for a while. That's
basically the name of the game is if you win a national championship, you get a little bit of a reprieve, and the reprieve is very short. But this is what we've been doing with college football coaches for decades. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it is just nobody's learned because again, there's so many factors with college football. Like it's not an exact science like an NFL. Like, and not to say the NFL is the exact science either, because honestly, they've had trouble coaching there. Like and getting it right. You know, it's not as easy as it looks to just be like, hey, yeah, you're hiring the right guy, and you know it's all going to pan out. Because I don't think when they hired Nick Saban in Alabama, they knew exactly what was going to happen either. So
I'll ask you this as we transition to what should Penn State do. Somebody put this in because I wrote about this earlier, and it involves Curt Cignetti and it might involve Matt Rule. So somebody wrote to me like earlier, and it's a great point. If Penn State were to hire Matt Rule, who has a great connection obviously with the AD, they're buddies, and then Nebraska would hire Penn State or would hire James Franklin, who would do better in that scenario? Like isn't that fucked up?
No, but that's what I'm saying is like that was my point about like Penn State should have done this 2 years ago probably. I don't even know. That was the year that they won the Big Ten, and then it's but the point is that
it is hard. Yes,
there's a certain point where sometimes the people aspect of it and the culture aspect of it definitely clouds the ability to make that business decision in terms of like future planning for what's next and what's coming down the pipe for college football. That's also not easy to say over the last 5 years because of NIL and portal. Like that was not an easy choice for athletic directors in terms of knowing that and being able to see that future. But I think that, and also like shout out to Nick Saban for not retiring earlier because that left them able to make that transition in a time where they knew sort of what the immediate future was going to look like with college football. But to your point, like, I think that James Franklin, you wrote about this, James Franklin is going to get a good job and will probably be very successful wherever he goes if the money is behind him. And it's a program where they can get that financial support and athletic department support. He's going to be back sort of where Penn State-ish was with a different program. Like, that's not a crazy thing to say. And I think that's also why this is so, like, jarring for a lot of people. I think mostly media members, like all of us are just feel weird about this because of the fact that it's like, we know he's a good coach and we know he's going to land on his feet and we know he's capable of doing it. It's just the national championships weren't there. And so that's hard to compete with and have be the standard when it's only a select few that really get to be a part of that, although that is shifting a bit. And to your point, let's talk about Curt Cignetti and the potential of taking that job. Because I do want to talk about that because I think you wrote something really interesting about the fact that he should kind of stay away from it.
Yeah, I think it should be Penn State's first call, second call, third call. I think you say you'll make him one of the top 3 highest paid coaches in the sport. Penn State has the resources to do it. Curt Cignetti is a Pennsylvania guy. So like there's a lot working for Penn State and Curt Cignetti. They could probably pay him more than Indiana can, although I don't know by much. And I think Curt Cignetti should say thanks, but no thanks. So here's the deal. Like, starting with the expectations, right? You just fired a guy that has been largely good over the last 3+ years. This year was a tire fire. Fine. Why does Curt Cignetti need that? Like,
why have that pressure when you're already going to the playoff and a title contender?
Indiana gave him a huge raise last year. They're going to give him another like $1 to $2 million raise again this year, regardless of this shit.
Yeah.
And so he could probably make $10 million a year coaching at a school that is investing in football, that understands where they are in the hierarchy. They're not expecting to make the playoffs every year, by the way.
No.
So,
no.
You know, like, so for him, like, he has this rare position of strength where he's happy and he's comfortable and the expectations are reasonable. and he's shown that he can work the transfer portal and operate in this era of football, and it works. Like, why fuck that up, right? Why?
So let's have this conversation about a coach who potentially is going to get fired and the job that would be open at the University of Florida. So Billy Napier, there was reports that he's basically going to get fired on Saturday. Like, there's...
Which, can we just real quick, Matt Hayes, who we both know and love and work with, made the report, reported that basically there was a big booster meeting with Scott Strickland, the AD, and they're basically saying, like, do we have the cash? Where's the support? What are we going to do? And it's funny that Mississippi State is the team, because for some reason, like, Jimbo Fisher beat Mississippi State by like 1,000 points and then got fired. For some reason, Mississippi State is always this team that win, lose, or draw. And by the way, Florida State's like a 9.5-point favorite in this game. I find it odd that this is like this moment in time game. Like, because A, Mississippi State's always involved, and B, who gives a shit? You know what this guy's is. Sorry, I digress.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hilarious. But no, we were just talking about, is it worth going to a place where the expectation is national championship, is to make the college football playoff every year? That's the goal. And if you're a guy like Lane Kiffin,
yes,
who is at Ole Miss, who seems very happy there, had the opportunity to go to Auburn. Auburn. That was Oregon and Auburn really just blended together there. That's not what happened. It was Auburn. Turn it down to stay at Ole Miss. Is it worth him taking that job? Also, let's talk about the other Florida job. Mike Norvell probably also going to get fired. I mean, buddy, this weekend was bad.
This is another thing. So let me first provide some context, because one of the other things we wrote, which is funny because you and I so busy this weekend, I had a story idea. You were like, we crossed wires on what this story was supposed to be, right? Like, behind the curtain. Because life is fucking busy. We've got live video. I've got family in town. James Franklin's fired. Holy shit. But I actually think the point is validated in that this coaching cycle season could be banana land. You've got Florida State. You've got Wisconsin. You've got Florida. You've got Oklahoma potentially. Like, you've got... I think that James Franklin, Penn State, saying enough is enough. And I'll go back to your point. They should have done it this year or this year. You got boosters around the country that are watching this and are like, well, fuck that. Yeah,
we joke.
Yeah,
we
fuck
joke about,
this.
Yeah, we joke about that, like, a lot of people were sending like gift baskets to James Franklin coaching wise, so that people weren't watching their terrible coaching jobs and paying attention. Now that he's gone, we've really shifted towards schools being like, thank you, Penn State, we can do it too. Like, I stand with you. Like, you know, like, all like, I'm doing my part. Like, oh god, it's going to be a major ripple effect. But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Put yourself in this situation, and we both agree that we would love to be recipients of a paycheck not to coach a football team. I very much would love to be in that boat.
Oh, God, yes.
If any school has the extra cash, we're here to take it on.
Yeah.
But if you are a college football coach right now and you are getting phone calls from Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Florida State, and you are a guy like Lane Kiffin, who is at a program that if he wins, I mean, this week's going to be a big game for him. He has probably like one or two other games on their schedule that they really need to win. We know he's lost games he's supposed to win, but they're still a playoff team at this point in the season. If you're in the situation kind of like a Cignetti, where maybe the expectation is a little bit more than there is for Indiana at Ole Miss, but they're really happy with what you've been doing and they're giving you the space to do it the way you want to do it, is it worth leaving to go to those big programs? Like, where is the line for a coach? Where is it like, I'm going to sacrifice my mental well-being to go do this? Because you are doing that, by the way.
So, all right, Lane in particular is fascinating because when you look at Ole Miss versus Florida, Ole Miss is a top 10 team again. They're unbeaten, but I'm gonna like contradict a little bit of my logic. Cignetti's situation, like at Indiana, bringing this program that doesn't have a ton of football prowess and say, hey, we're going to do this thing. Like, I get it. Like, Indiana has shown they can do it. The expectations are you're playing in the right conference, you're playing at the right school, you're coaching all these things. Lane's a little different. If I'm Lane, who's done this a little bit longer, has been at Ole Miss a long time, they'll give him a raise. They've continuously done that. Mississippi's got some weird coaching law rules where you can't give like a longer term contract. My interest would be piqued on Florida. I look at the talent that they have, and I think Lane is driven to win championships. Maybe not. Like, he's doing great there. It's working out well. We'll see what happens against Georgia. But you see the talent gap. And operating in the SEC is a little bit different. Lane is wired a little bit different.
Do you also think that this would come at the right time in his career to do that? So
I think that's exactly it.
Florida Atlantic, that I don't think Florida would have been the right job, or Florida State or anything like that. But now this version of Lane Kiffin, I think, would be able to survive and manage what comes with being the head coach at the University of Florida.
I think Lane looks at that talent and team and says, if I were the coach and I had DJ Lagway, he could turn them into a four. Like, so this is my opinion, but I would love to see Lane at Florida. I'd love to see Cignetti at Penn State. I think it would be smart for him to say no.
I need him to take a basketball school, and I need him to prove the narrative that NIL, proper coaching, developing players, good staff, all of that stuff matters more than just the fact that you have a logo and have been a blue blood. Like, I need that. I need that to take a basketball school and make them consistently good in college football and the expanded playoff era, and make deep runs and win national championships. Even if it's just one, I need it to happen.
Well, Ole Miss is a great program, and Lane's done great there. The fit works. So if he's happy, then cool. They're
sure, but like I want Lane to win like national championships.
I wonder. Like, I look at who they've played. They beat LSU. That was great. They play on the road here. I hate to say it, but like you have like 2 games in a row at Georgia, at Oklahoma, that I think are going to largely drive the future of Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Like, I really think this is going to be a telling factor.
I know Auburn's paying quite a bit to not have a lot of people coach their team.
Speaking of fired coaches,
I was just going to say,
yeah, there's another one.
There's another one that they might need to.
No, they are like, it's like Florida. Their schedule sucks. They're playing competitive games and they're losing, and so like, all of this somehow points back to Cignetti staying in Indiana. Indiana will worship him. This was the thought of Pat Fitzgerald, and I know that ended very odd and weird at Northwestern. And frankly, when you look how it ended now, Pat Fitzgerald probably shouldn't have been fired. I'm not saying anything controversial. This is all like reported. But Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern, because he was getting linked to NFL jobs and other jobs, and he just kind of had it made, and it worked for them. Because it's a tough job to win at big, especially in this climate. He didn't want to do it. So, like, if these coaches are happy in their positions, I just think at Ole Miss, it's a little different than Indiana. Because the scrutiny at Ole Miss will come for Lane at some point, right?
Yeah.
Like, it will come for Cignetti, too, if he's going to make $10 million a year, which he probably will. But at his point in his career, seeing what he's done to go through, I would love to see it. And by the way, let's go full circle with James Franklin. UCLA, Vatek. I think Vatek would be an amazing fit for Franklin.
I want him to go to UCLA really badly.
I think that would be awesome.
I would love to see him at UCLA, and I think they do need to keep Jerry Neuheisel.
Totally. You could do that as like a package deal. Like, that would be unbelievably positive. Like, I agree. Like, that would be great. And you talk about like a cool sellable duo from a recruiting and an NIL and a transfer portal. I'm curious what Franklin wants. By the way, he's great at TV too. He's great when he's done playoff games and other things. He's great. So he'll have an opportunity to probably chill in broadcasting if he says, fuck this, which I don't blame any of these coaches who
honestly,
say, fuck
the greatest coach to ever coach college football did it. So like, there's a reason, buddy, that people are like, see ya.
The only other thing I'm going to say about Franklin, and we can move on. Of course, when someone gets fired, you get a parade usually of people saying nice things about said head coach. Sometimes they don't, right? It seemed like there was media members who said some really kind of cool, touching things. You had Micah Parsons, you had former players. It seemed like James Franco was genuinely really liked. And I know people who have worked with him. I think it's been a long time. I don't think we've ever spent, it seems like people really like him. And that doesn't mean everything, but it means something, especially in this next chapter of his life.
Yes. Well, and that was my point earlier, is that, like, I think the personal part of it and the culture aspect that he brought really delayed this decision. And it's sad that it ended in this way, because it probably could have happened in a way to prevent this. However, they wanted him to be the one to get to the promised land with, and that's fine.
Yes. Now,
they screwed themselves financially, but I mean,
let's talk about another coach trying not to quit or get fired. Bill Belichick. So,
bananas. Last week, we literally were just talking about how there was conversations around him potentially being, some sort of buyout negotiation, all this stuff. Apparently it's not true.
Bullshit.
But why does he want to be there? I mean, like, just leave. Just get out while you can.
So
save face.
They are a 10.5 point underdog to Cal.
Which, by the way, I should go to. It's literally not that far.
You could watch his last game. It feels like he's tried to calm this down, which fine, good. Like, I have no beef there. Like, he's not a PR whiz, but he's basically said, no, I'm here. Whether that's true or not, I don't think anybody believes. But has he done that? Has he restored faith for use that he will be the head coach? Forget about by Halloween or Thanksgiving. How about like this time next year?
No, I don't think. Well, because I mean, by this time next year, if they've lost as much as they've been losing now, I don't think this gets fixed. Like, I think there is going to be a huge amount of players that leave, and we said this last week. The whole purpose of them, like, saying, "Hey, give us time, trust the process," is that you're able to build and develop some of these players. That's not going to happen if they all leave. This feels so toxic that, like, it's going to affect people wanting to go there and play. It's not even about how well he can coach. It's about how well you can manage a program, and it's spiraled so far past what is acceptable. If I were him, I would bow out gracefully before this gets, like, even more embarrassing. So, also, my father-in-law does chains for Cal. I'm gonna remind him to make sure he's on the sideline with Bill Belichick.
By the way, the schedule is funny because it's not hard, but it's just hard enough to make this somehow worse, right? So they play at Cal.
Like, this is embarrassing. Like, just
but they play at Cal. They play Virginia at home. Virginia is good.
Good. Yes.
They play at Syracuse, right? They play Stanford at home. Maybe a dub. Got to get that one.
No.
They play at Wake Forest. They play Duke. They play at NC State. So
if they don't win, it, like,
this has got 1-5 vibes to it.
Okay, hold on. Let me play your.
Which, by the way, 1-5 would mean they're 3-8. Oh shit! They have 7 games left. So on my math, it's not mathing. All right,
don't win a single game for the rest of the year, he should be fired.
I think there's a reasonable chance that happens.
You literally cannot justify, like, I don't give a shit how many Super Bowls you have. 2, that would be.
Well, then they'll just mutually part ways.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be 2 and 10.
Well, don't they have 3 wins already?
Yeah, sorry, 3 and 10.
Oh, no.
No,
That's right. No. They could be 2 and 10. You're right.
Yes.
At best, they're probably 3 and 9. I'm sorry.
My math, and I really, you had me going there for a second because math is not my thing.
No, me neither.
And
I counted the wrong number of games. So you're looking at 2 and 10, potentially 3 and 9. They're probably favored against Stanford. They're going to be an underdog of probably a significant amount. I don't know about Syracuse. No, they'll be an underdog against Syracuse for sure. in every other game. In fact, there won't just be an underdog to Syracuse. They'll probably be a decent sized dog to Syracuse. So it's bad. It's very bad.
Yeah, I mean, you literally cannot justify that. And I promise you, those players are going to dip the moment that they can. Those players have mentally quit on him. So even the games that they're favored in or would be favored to maybe win, I don't think they're going to.
Last topic. I don't like doing this during the season, but I found it fascinating because I think it's really interesting highlighting where the sport is going, in that we've got a wide receiver, Jameer Brown, who is the top wide receiver in the class of 2027. Where's he going? Of course, Ohio State. That's where all the top wideouts go.
Because it's wide receiver you.
And by the way, good for them. I think that's working. That's where I would go too. So essentially he's from Ohio and he's committed to play at Ohio State. And there's a lawsuit basically brewing that high school kids want in on NIL. And this is not shocking at all, but I find it really interesting. And I don't have a take other than, like, as we move in this new era, we're going to move in some really interesting places.
I mean, we've already seen this, though.
But, like,
in what capacity are they? Sorry, I didn't read the article you posted in here, but
they essentially, I think, he was alleged that, let me find the quote about what his value is in high school, essentially saying that he's worth $100,000 a year, right?
Oh, this is a Ohio high school specific thing.
Yes. So.
Oh, so there's okay. So there are rules and regulations in certain what am I blanking on what it's called? Certain
certain states have different rules.
Okay, yes, which is an NIL issue, so that's why there have been the NCAA level. Okay, I'm seeing that, whereas high school needs to get But
the point of this larger scale is that even this lawsuit.
We know this because, I mean, sorry, I don't know if this is in the article and I keep cutting you off. Did they mention Quinn Ewers in this?
No, I don't believe so.
Because wasn't that a big thing about Quinn
Ewers? Well,
and that's why he ended up at Texas?
If you follow high school basketball, which is like crazy, like this is rampant in high school basketball.
That's an understatement.
But I find this interesting because our sport, it just it dips its toe in the water and then it goes. Well, this is not necessarily new. Like, this is the top college football story on ESPN today, right? And it's one of the top players in the country who's a year away. And so what I guess what I'm getting at, I don't have any dramatic NIL conclusions. I don't even know if it's bad. I guess the going rate of paying players and compensating players is where does this end, right?
So here's my take on it. Name, image, and likeness is still supposed to be about name, image, and likeness. So meaning that these kids can benefit off their popularity, not because, and yes, of course, that comes along with being a highly touted recruit, but it's not specific to them being paid to play. Now, will this cause problems in terms of high school, of shoulder tapping, having kids go to bigger schools that are dominant in certain areas and all of those things? Absolutely. But that's already a problem. I struggle with this because I remember Will Greer, right?
Yeah.
And his brothers, they were super famous on YouTube and they were in high school. And I remember there was something along the lines, I'm not remembering the story correctly or cause it feels like forever ago. But there was conversation about how he couldn't make money in that, and there are kids that are average kids that are making money on YouTube and TikTok and all that at a very young age. So why would we stop athletes from doing that? I think is really what it comes down to for me when I think about it as hey, if you have a kid that has a popular YouTube channel, let them make that money off of it. To your point, AJ Desponsa, who's the number one recruit last year in college basketball, he goes to BYU this year, it does YouTube vlogs and all this stuff and is making all this money off of those things. Why would we stop that when that generation is going to be content creators? That's what they want.
Absolutely.
What was there was some this is way off on a tangent. There was some study of the average kid in Gen Alpha, they asked them what they wanted to be and the average response was like a YouTube
YouTuber?
star or like a
Yeah.
creator.
You
So
ask
like,
my kids, that's what they would say right now.
yeah, well, and that's the thing is like, okay, so I think that's also the other part of this. It's like sort of missing is like people are like, oh, well, players shouldn't be, but it's also like if they were an average kid, why we would let them make that money?
I
would be
just
giving that money.
I am in
But it needs
awe.
to say to name, image, and like this, and there does need to be a way to filter it. The state by state stuff is a little hard, and at the high school level, there's not one unifying entity. So
It's been the problem with this from the start, honestly, up until recently, where there's been some guidance, but we know how that will go. Like it won't still be, edge cases and things got around.
And I'm not, saying that some of these things should happen and there's a lot of logistics to it, but like the idea of like a federally figured out situation to regulate some of this stuff might be a positive. And I know there's like a college sports commission type thing that's trying, and there's like pros and cons to these things, but
it just amazes me how far we've come in 10 years as the elder. I just am. It is wild how much the conversation has changed.
As the people who watched Reggie Bush get his Heisman stripped from him,
the tush push was 20 years ago, right?
I can't believe
20
it.
Fucking years. I saw that today. I'm like, oh my God, I am old.
And like he would, and that stuff that happens regularly and is very public now. What he did.
20 fucking years on the tush push. That was
That's why
in
I'm
my
very
college
rational
apartment.
about some of this stuff is because I don't want to look back 20 years from now and be like, wow, I was kind of really like terrible at looking at this like as cheating or whatever. Like trying to put it in perspective of like 20 years from now, is this really going to matter? Is this really going to impact the game? In quotes.
Wow, it's funny. USC on Q tweeted about 20 years ago to those who celebrate, and the replies are very mixed. The tush push in my college apartment, we debated the legality of that, which is funny, right? 20 years later, when it's like it's the same shit, just now it's normal and it happens every few drives, it seems. So
much.
All right, let's talk about football. I have locks, but we also have this is a really, really deep week of games. Do we want to start with locks and then go into the games that we don't cover, or how do you want to?
I love that you said that it's a deep week of games because it is about the deep conference, the SEC, even though they're not the best conference.
Correct. I'll start with locks, and then we can talk about other games that we want to talk about. So, Ole Miss, Georgia. Funny backstory to this. Little context. So, yesterday,
you find it comical.
Well, I did not. I felt really bad. But yesterday, so for our locks that we post on Bleacher Report, I get custom artwork, which I appreciate. It looks great.
You're welcome. I had to request it.
Thank you. Well, this one you had to request too. I am getting into a car, and you asked if I was featuring Ole Miss versus Georgia, and I said yes, but or what are the other games? And then you asked who I like, and I said Ole Miss. And then a couple minutes later, it's like, fuck, nope, sorry, I like Georgia. The art was already created. It was bad. So, spoiler alert, I do like Georgia in this game. Ole Miss is, I find this part of the year always interesting because you see who has played on the road and who hasn't. Ole Miss has played one road game, right? It's almost Halloween, which is interesting.
Yes.
They played at Kentucky. They didn't play very well.
No.
I think this is a real problem. I don't think Georgia played all that great last week. I think this game's a real problem.
So I, after watching last week's, and maybe, we talk about this all the time, like, do teams look ahead and all of that? They didn't play great this last week against Washington State. So, yeah, I'm going to go with, I think Georgia looks a little bit better. But then again, I also was really hesitant about the LSU game, and they played a phenomenal game despite having some hiccups. They might be up for it, but I don't know. Honestly, the only edge that I give Georgia is that they're at home.
Yeah, and I think defensively, they're starting to figure some things out. I just think they're a more complete team. Ole Miss, by the way, last week almost lost as like a 30-point fucking favorite.
I know.
It's like a 30 fucking.
It was in the midst of like Penn State and like the chaos of everything else. And
30
people were like,
points.
by the way, Ole Miss not looking great.
All right. So there's one. So you're riding with me on that one.
Yes.
I know on this next one, you are absolutely not going to be simpatico. I like Duke -1.5 versus Georgia Tech. I find this line to be absolutely fascinating. Duke is, I don't know why I have to bet on Duke every week, on or against Duke. Georgia Tech is ranked number 12. Duke is a team that's won and lost, actually played better of late. It's at Duke. They are favored over a top 13 team. You're going to get a lot of Georgia Tech public money here. We've talked about Duke and their quarterback and how much it cost and yada, yada, yada. It's like, can they not do dumb shit? Because if they do, Georgia Tech, who really doesn't do dumb shit, will make them play. The other part of this that's concerning, when you think back to that Wake Forest game, how Georgia Tech played for like 3.5 quarters, that's what worries me. So I like Duke, but it's 1.5 here.
Okay. I'm dying with that. I was just trying to look up how, because I haven't, obviously we have predictions tomorrow morning that we record.
Yep.
And I usually do my deep dive after we record, which is hilarious. I should say record this podcast.
Like I wing this shit and then I do my research.
No, but it's more just like I like giving like initial like thoughts and vibes on this first. But I will say, I could see a situation where Georgia Tech's offensive style maybe matches up poorly with how good of a defense Duke can be when they're at their full potential.
Duke knows how to piss me off. All right, next game. I think Oklahoma is just about to ride the shit wave. And I think South Carolina +5.5, I really like. Now, South Carolina is not playing well.
No.
They've been competitive in these games. I think Oklahoma is just kind of being exposed for not being that good. And I don't know what is up with Mateer. Texas defense is really good. He's playing hurt, clearly. I think this is a brutal bit of timing. You play Texas, you have to go play at South Carolina. I got to see what the total in this game is, too, because they may score 10 points combined. The total is 43.5. That's like an NFL total. That's crazy. So, but I like South Carolina. I think Lenore
What's
Sellers.
the line?
5.5.
South Carolina is favored?
No, they're underdogs. 5.5 point underdogs to Oklahoma.
I will ride with that only because I think it'll be a field goal game, but I do think Oklahoma wins.
I think Oklahoma, though. I don't know. They're hard watch right now. It's bad. Speaking of hard watches, and as I was doing these, I was curious if you were going to say anything. I didn't mean for this week to be SEC heavy, but it is. It just means more. No, okay? I just go where the money tells me to go, okay? I'm sure I'm going to get some shit in the comments about that, but whatever. Auburn, motherfuckers, +1.5 versus Missouri. This is a crazy point spread. Missouri, though, emotionally is going to be
like emotional
hungover.
letdown game. Okay.
Oh my God, they had
You're taking Auburn, aren't you?
Yes, +1.5, big time. It's probably my favorite play of the week. Auburn is good until they're not.
So I'm so sorry. No, I'm not going with you on that.
I'm not proud of this.
That's also someone who bet a lot of money on Missouri last week. So.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who you are anymore. Yeah, I think Missouri's good. I didn't love how they played last week. And Auburn, of course, is a fucking dumpster fire. But home field is huge there. Hugh Freeze needs this game. It may not matter. I don't care. +1.5, I'm in. Here's another gut check. Arkansas, +7.5 versus Texas A&M. Now,
wow, I'm actually surprised by this pick because you've been riding the Texas A&M hype train this whole season. Are they playing at Arkansas? Do they have an away game?
It's at Arkansas.
Wow, an away game for Texas A&M, huge.
I know, yeah. So I was thinking about that too. So here's the thing. Arkansas's played Ole Miss, Memphis, and Tennessee, and they've lost those 3 games by a combined 10 points. Now, they lost to Notre Dame by roughly 248,000 points.
Uh-huh.
But they've played well. And A&M's played solid, but they're not like beating the absolute hell out of people. Like they're not.
Yes.
They're playing
They played a
well.
lot of close games. That's why I don't have a ton of
I-
faith in them.
I think Arkansas's got a really good chance to win this game outright. I really do.
So I'm going to ride with you on this. Because I mean, I agree. I think they've won a lot of close games, and I think their record obviously makes them look a lot better than they have been because,
Yes.
and again, you're playing down to certain levels. I think this could be a tough game, trap game. What do they play who do they play the following week?
Bobby Petrino really I'll grab that. Bobby Petrino really wants this job, right?
Yeah.
And to get this job, which sounds so
Top 10
funny
win?
to say, oh, that
Top
helps.
5 win,
I mean,
right?
they're
They're what?
playing better. Admittedly, they are playing a lot better. Who does Arkansas play next week or A&M? Did you guys?
A&M.
A&M. So Arkansas plays Auburn. It's a good point for look. They play at LSU.
Yes.
So
this could very much well be a whoopsie daisies.
It's yes.
I will
So,
also
there you
say
go.
that for Arkansas they're A&M's ranked number 4. Get a top 5 win in the SEC, you can guarantee yourself the job.
That'll help. Bobby fucking Petrino. Jesus Christ. Bobby Petrino is employed and James Franklin is not. What a world. What a world. Like, what a world. I have some fun locks, so go to Bleacher Report because there's some uncharacteristic picks. You know my formula, which is like home dogs. I like a home dog. This week is heavy on home dogs. I have some big favorites that I don't normally do, but there's some really interesting lines out there. So if you want to know what those are, go to Bleacher Report, go to the app.
Wow,
And,
look at that.
Yeah,
Good
thanks.
plug.
Yeah.
All right, let's run through some of the other top games. Let's start with Tennessee at Alabama. I think this is going to be a win for Alabama.
I am a little surprised this line isn't more than it is. You
What is
said
it?
it's 7.5. I think it's going to be a win for Alabama too. I
think they win by 2 touchdowns.
I like that you said like we can't say we no longer know what teams are. I kind of feel that way about Tennessee. I don't know how good this team is. I agree. I like Alabama in this game.
Now,
Yes.
this game we're picking tomorrow, but are we actually? We have to.
Which game is it?
USC Notre Dame.
Yep. I think Notre Dame's going to kick the shit out of USC. They almost made my locks.
Interesting. I actually think it'll be a close game.
9.5 is the spread, which is
I think that USC will cover.
supposed to be really shitty weather, by the way, around this area on
the California
Saturday.
kids can't handle it.
No.
That is a Big Ten team, all right? I don't know if you heard Lincoln Riley, but
Fucking Lincoln Riley.
I love
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley. No slander. And then
No, me too. But the weather, keep an eye on the weather. Like Saturday is supposed to be a
keep an
washout.
eye on the weather. says
Oh,
the
well, it's
gambler.
more for totals. Like,
Yeah.
if you have an edge on totals, I'm telling you, the weather is supposed to be a little crappy here in the Midwest. So,
To be fair,
keep
we
an
saw
eye.
that USC can run the ball with a third string, a walk-on running back.
No, hey, USC has played. God, Lincoln Riley could use this game so badly,
Yeah, he really could.
so badly.
And then let's go to the Big 12. Utah,
Yeah,
BYU.
Vanders. I am really struggling with this game.
I'm taking Utah. I'm just letting you know now. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care. I watched BYU against Arizona, and I think Utah is in a space. Like, I think, here's the other thing. People were looking back to that Texas Tech game. Texas Tech is far and away one of the best defenses in the country. Like, I don't care what conference. So, and it was earlier in the season. They've got a couple weeks under their belt meaning Utah. I think Utah is going to be fine with BYU. I think BYU definitely it's more the execution part for BYU. Like, they cannot let themselves, like, if they trip up, which they did against Arizona, but like Arizona didn't have enough to beat them, Utah does. So don't get yourself in a situation where you're playing from behind, you're forcing Bear Mockmeyer to do too much, put too much pressure on him. I think that's kind of recipe for disaster a bit.
I I think I'm going to pick Utah too. Fucking Arizona, no offense, not you.
I was so mad. I was
By
so
the
mad.
way, I think I kind of jinxed them too.
You did.
I did. I
also
did.
everybody I know did. By the way, if
I
you know me, I'm just gonna. This is my rant, and then we can end because
oh no, we got a couple more fucking games, buddy. But go ahead, rant on.
We have more games.
Oh yeah. Well,
to talk about?
Yeah, there's a couple. But finish your rant.
Okay, well, my rant is if Arizona is up in a game against a team that they're not supposed to be beating, don't text me. Don't bother me. Don't share anything. I don't want to talk about it. I'm pretending it's not happening. I'm not saying it to anyone. We're not acknowledging it. I can't say how many people text me, Slack me. Don't do it. Everybody stop jinxing Arizona.
I need
blame
to be
all
better.
of you.
No, I felt bad.
My family was there. It was family weekend, and my cousin goes to U of A, and they were at that game. It was an hour delay, and then it was raining, all this stuff. They were having a great time. It was a great game, obviously, but terrible when you lose. And my aunt texts us, like, probably in the third quarter, and I was like, no! I was like, no, this is going to be bad. This is going to be so bad. I'm like, we're losing. We're losing. I have no faith. And then, of course, Nick was at a wedding this weekend, and so he had FaceTimed me, and I was like, not now! Arizona's in double overtime, like, just not now. And he's like, okay, sorry, I didn't know. And I'm like, just killing me.
I apologize. I have 3 more games for you.
Okay.
3. Arizona State, Texas Tech. I like Texas Tech.
Was Sam Levitt playing?
He is going to play, I think. There was some pictures of him at practice. His foot is okay. That line is down to 7.5. I just think Texas Tech is a wagon.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, duh. Two games of interest. We'll save the biggest one for last. Washington, Michigan is a really interesting game that I want absolutely no part of. Michigan is a 6.5 point favorite. It's at Michigan.
You said Michigan is a 6.5 point favorite?
I'd probably lean Michigan. But I've struggled with this game. I want action in this game. It's also an 11 a.m. It's Fox game. So 11 a.m. slate is a banger. There's other places 11 a.m.
So, I mean, I would take Washington to cover.
Do we have to pick this game? No, we don't.
No, but I would pick Washington to cover.
All right, last one. LSU Vandy.
Man.
Vanderbilt is a 2.5 point favorite, which is, I can't find the tweet, but historically pretty fucking wild against a program like LSU. I like Vanderbilt. I just think they're better. I think they're better. I think their quarterback's better.
Offense, it is just.
Vandy was coming off a bye. I think LSU is too.
No, LSU played South Carolina.
Oh, that's right. All right. Vandy. So yeah. No,
Vandy. I would take Vandy.
Yeah, and that's right. It was 20-10. No, LSU's just not that good.
Diego Pavia should have talked his shit before this game, not the Alabama game.
This is the one.
Talk shit about the quarterback and be like, I'm the better guy.
Can you imagine the Brian Kelly Discord after a loss to Vanderbilt? Oh, chef's kiss. All right. It's a great week. It truly. There's not a ton. Well, we've got 2 top 10 matchups? But it's a banger of a week. There are great games on all day.
Yes.
Also, Oregon plays at Rutgers. I have not added them to locks yet, but I'm really tempted to bet Rutgers. Really tempted. It's going to be like fucking 60 degrees and shitty weather.
Of the moment after they lose to Indiana.
No, but it's like, imagine losing to Indiana and then having to go to fucking New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. I can say this, okay? That's like a goddamn.
That was a hit in New Jersey. That wasn't even a hit in Oregon.
No, but imagine that. You're not going to be excited to play that game. I wish that game was at 11 a.m. That's the only thing. I don't think it is. I think it's that would be great. You lose horribly, and then you go to New Jersey and play a brunch football game. What time is that game?
I love brunch football game.
Oh, it's at 5:30. Not going to be that bad. All right, random shit. I don't know if I have much.
I don't have any because also I need to leave and go to my cake tasting.
Oh!
Which I believe is good random shit, so.
No, that's great. Okay, I need a few details. I don't know how this works. It's been a while since we did the whole wedding cake.
So basically, here's the thing. We have
all the details actually now that
We have a significant amount of guests coming, so we have lots of layers. So basically, there's going to be 2 layers to our main cake, and then we're going to have a bunch of sheet cakes as well, because there's just not enough in that layer those 2 layers to feed everybody. Which means we could have probably up to like 5 flavors. So
I don't even remember my
There is
cake.
going to be hot take. There will be a carrot cake. I don't care if it's the smallest one and I just get to eat it, but there will be a carrot cake.
Wow, I gotta go back and look at pictures of my cake. What the fuck do we do?
Also, ask Caitlin how much it costs, because I want to do cost comparison for when you got married.
Well, I got fucking married like, back when eggs were
Do you
reasonable.
not remember the year?
Didn't. I don't. Well, it was a long time ago, man.
Adam!
We just had my anniversary. It was nice. Went out and had a steak. We have been married. When did Iowa beat Pitt? That's what
Let me just also give a peek behind the curtain of what it's like to be engaged to Nick. So he texts me saying, heading over. Also, there's a fire dumpling spot next to this place. AKA, we're about to go get dinner at this dumpling spot after trying cake. This man wants to make me so fat before we get married. I'm like, what is happening?
Why you know what? Dumplings are.
All right. Well, I will let you guys know what
2011, by the way.
What?
2011.
2011, okay.
Dude, that was a long fucking time ago.
That was a really long time ago, not to be.
Iowa quarterback James Vandenberg threw for 400 yards. My. Eggs were affordable, and Iowa had 400-yard quarterbacks.
I was a sophomore in college.
See, cakes were cheaper. You don't even know how much my cake cost.
I don't need to make myself more mad. All right, well, I'm going to go.
Happy tasting.
Thank you.
Everybody enjoy the games. On Sunday, watch us. AP Poll show, which they've been fire. This one will be fired too, I guarantee it. And we will talk to you guys next week.